Hi, Lynn. So excited for you to be here again. And as always, for your Rising Up segment. So, what insight do you have for us today?
Well, Jean, I'm thrilled to be here. And I've been thinking a lot about the tools that we use to get better in life, right? As I'm always thinking about that. And one of those that has come up for me and I've had a lot of focus on lately that goes really well with this experience of the outside making the inside better is journaling. So, journaling is one of those things you can do it anywhere. I love little lightweight journals that fit in my backpack or in my bag or that fit in a back pocket or whatever so that I can take them with me into the out of doors. I also love journaling indoors on a rainy day. And sometimes my journaling is written words and sometimes it's pictures and creative application of images. All kinds of things can go in a journal. And it's a great way to kind of have a brain dump that gets your creative juices flowing when you're stuck, or that helps you process a problem or an idea. Journaling is this amazing transformational tool that people have been using since people have been writing. So, writing and drawing and making images. So, I'm really excited about journaling. I've put together a free journaling prompt called Journaling Wisdom. It's at journalingwisdom.com and it's a 22-day totally free prompt if you're interested in starting your journaling. If you're like I was and have this shelf full of blank journals or journals that have 3 pages written in them, then this is what to do with those. Don't throw them out. Don't give them away. Don't put them in your yard sale. Just start journaling. And so if anybody wants the 22-day, and they come by text message and they're just little videos of me giving you a journal prompt, it's at journalingwisdom.com, Jean. Glad to be here. Hope everybody goes outside, takes a journal with them, and gets the outside making the inside better.
I love that, Lynn. And that really builds on your message from last time, too. And I've thought a lot about what you said last time about making the inside better so the outside is better, and taking care of the inside. And journaling does that as well. So thank you. Thanks so much. And I hope everybody checks out the journaling prompt. And we'll see you next time.
Hi, everyone. I'm Denise Stiegel. I am the Healthy Lifestyle Coach, or the Healthy Living Liaison, and curator at livinghealthylist.com. And I'm really excited today about my recent conversation with my friend, Jean Gallagher. Jean is a financial advisor with Seaside Solutions and the amazing host of the podcast, Discover Rising Tides, How the Outside Makes the Inside Better. We had an in-depth conversation on the topic of, get this, contentment, and why that is actually a bad thing for you. Watch more and subscribe to Discover Rising Tides at discoverrisingtides.com. I'll see you there.
My name is Jean Gallagher, and welcome to show number 8, Discover Rising Tides, How the Outside Makes the Inside Better, where we explore the importance of the outdoors and maintaining life balance. Through this series, we'll be talking to women business owners to understand their journey. And today I'm excited to introduce Andrea Spacek. Hi, Andrea.
Hello, happy to be here.
Oh, so excited to have you. And Andrea is many things, and we've known each other for a little while. She is the founder of InVision Feminine Leadership, a Jungian Life Coach. Did I pronounce that right?
It's Jungian.
See, I should have asked you first.
Oh, it's fine. Yeah.
And she's a 500-hour E-RYT yoga teacher as well. So, and the list is probably longer than that, but welcome.
Yeah, we're so many things, aren't we? It's like, how do you pick one? And
I know, right?
I'm the type of person, it's like, why do you pick one? You know, like we got, why not be the full spectrum? So
that's a good point. And I never really thought about why pick one. That's a good thing. And it's funny, as we're here talking today. Today is an interesting day to have a conversation, especially where we're including outside after yesterday. Mm-hmm. And with what we had here locally, Andrea and I are actually in the same town, even though we're not in the same building right now. But we had a small little fire starting up through the canyon. And so it's an interesting day to even consider the outside based upon what we witnessed yesterday.
Yeah, it certainly is triggering, to say the least, when we're literally seeing fires popping up all around us. And the work that I do and what everything I study says, the world is coming out of us. We're not coming out of the world. So if you really take that on and you see fires and craziness all around, it makes you just stop for a moment and wonder, and turn to curiosity about that. It's like, okay, interesting. I might not conceptually like really understand that, like on a on a level that you could put into words even, but at the least, I hope it makes us stop for a moment and just wonder like what each of our parts is in this crazy drama that we're seeing unfold out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's an interesting adventure to be not in control, because that's what we felt yesterday. We're about a mile from the beginning of the evacuation area, warning area. And so, you're really not in control, but you have to almost let it go and let it happen versus being wound into the emotion of what's going on. You can observe from afar and just be ready. But it was an interesting, in my short 6-year tenure in California, I guess it's as close as I want to be to that kind of an event. But it was, being on the other side, it's interesting as well. So.
Yeah. It's I think it brings up a lot for all of us, and that whole question of, what should I be doing, right now. I think yesterday, when it's in your backyard, there's something like, should I be doing something in particular, even if it's not looking like I need to evacuate, So it makes it's very uneasy. It's like, and I had a hard time being kind of present to what was going on in my immediate world, because I was like, but that's out there. I can't ignore it,
Exactly.
So, yeah.
But we're here, and as of this afternoon, it's all under control. So that's another good thing. So tell us about your journey. Let's start there. And I really want to talk about your coaching and what you're doing currently right now, but I think that the journey is really appropriate. And, a lot of that does resonate with many people. So tell us about where you started and where you're at now, and how you went from one point to the other, or it probably looked like this and a lot of this too, right?
Yeah, I resonate with the spiral quite a bit. It's like circling in, coming back out. So I grew up in New Jersey. I'm an East Coaster as well, and pretty fast-paced life going on around me, but I was always kind of a quiet person and always wanted to retreat to nature. So from the beginning of my earliest memories, like trees were my friends. I just always wanted to, like, my happy time was always like playing outside in the forest, like with the little mossy, fairy creatures. And that never has changed for me. I've always stayed connected to that part of me. And I think it's that child in me always still sees the magic. So I'm grateful for that. For whatever reason, I was able to stay tuned into it. But yeah, it looked like my love of nature took me to college for environmental studies, and I thought I was gonna save the animals. Like Gorillas in the Mist was a big, like, pivotal moment, it felt like, where I was like, I need to go save the gorillas. And so it really started, it moved into a love of animals. And then very quickly, my freshman year in college, I realized it's really human beings. Like, it's not the animals that need saving, like they do, people need to do that work. But I really felt like it's the human heart and it was kind of that question, like, why don't we care? What is it about human beings that has caused this divide between ourselves and nature? And so that just kept, I've been on that journey ever since. And that's definitely, so that spiral, like however far I go into the mind, or, because I've really gotten into consciousness through yoga and now studying Jung and psychology. I've been drawn to that for years. But it always leads me back to nature. Like where I picture, my happy place is still outside. That's a place I feel the most calm and connected, and where my nervous system can kind of reset itself. And it's a place I like to take my groups. I do a lot of my stuff outside. Like I lead women's circles and retreats, and I've done that for the last decade or so. And we always end up outside if we can. It depends on the weather, of course, but fortunately in California, we can be outside quite a bit. And it's because I feel it's an integral piece to us coming back, like remembering. I feel like if I can help people remember that we're a part of all of creation, we're not these separate, I think we intellectually understand that, but we still live like we're separate, and that on some level we can live this like insulated life, that has nothing to do, like we can just order stuff on Amazon and like, do everything through the internet. And, those are wonderful tools, but it's when we forget, I think that the imbalance we're seeing outside with nature doing its thing, which, yes, some of that's natural, but to the degree that like California has been on fire, for instance, and the massive flooding. And to me, that just points to there's an imbalance going on. There's an imbalance that we've been ignoring for so long. And I believe in my work, my calling is to call people back to their own inner, like where are you personally really out of balance, and where are you divided internally? Because if you follow that Eastern philosophy, it points right to that. It's like what you're seeing out there is coming from in here. And that can be difficult, to kind of, well, what, really? I don't think so. And it's just something to try on. It's like, So, I started trying that on after teaching yoga for a while and studying, the different, the Vedas and, the different philosophies. And I was like, And so everything's an experiment about that now. It's like, that's what I do with my coaching sessions, but whether it's one-on-one or in groups, it's like, how do we really take responsibility for our life? And I believe when we actually do that for the planet, it's, it's just that old adage, like the change begins with you. It's just really what it is. Like you can kind of dance around it, but yeah.
How do you measure imbalance, or how do you help people find their imbalance?
Yeah. So it's important I'm happy you brought that word up, because that word is challenging in that, like, I don't believe the goal is to be like 0 degrees, like Libra, where everything's perfect all the time. That's a setup, essentially. It's about, for me, I'll say, it's about honoring. It's honoring there's a season for everything. That life isn't just, we're not robots. Like there's, wherever you live, there's still like the light changes. There's times where we need more rest, like in the winter. There's times where we have more energy in the summer. And it's tuning into that. It's staying somewhat, again, bringing us back to the natural rhythms, that there is, we're just like a plant. We have times where we're in bloom and we have times where we're fallow. And how do we find ways to honor that? So a lot of my work is about, like, through ceremony and ritual, and like, how do we find even small little ways in our day to flow with the seasons, and that, like, honoring it. There's some times where I need more than 6 hours of sleep. Like, I can't do that all the time, or I get really, it affects how I am in the world. And so again, I would say following the truth, which is what Ayurveda is based on. It's very elemental. It's very much about this, like the science of life. And that's, it's like that, which is more focused. Yoga is more focused on how do we regulate and find balance through the breath and movement. Ayurveda is more, how do we do that through nutrition and some of these rituals that honor that we're cyclical beings. We're not just, I'm going to have the same schedule every day and I'm going to do, push, 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 which is very much how we've been conditioned in this culture.
Yeah. Do you find it's hard I'm challenged with this, so that's why I'm asking the question of being present. And does that lack of being present also help create more of an imbalance because we're really not in tune with ourselves or in tune with what's going on at the moment within our small little circle or our area?
Yeah. So we, like Ayurveda would call that being in Vata. Most Americans, Vata is the air sign, is the air element. And it's exacerbated by busyness and like eating quickly, running from here to there. Like you can just it's like that upward moving energy that's just, you're never quite settled. So you're always a little bit it's anxiety too. Like it really is the element of anxiety. So much of what most people need, and why I was called to body work, for which I am transitioning out of right now, but it was that really that deep grounding because of the type I did Thai massages on the floor. So it was like people 9, actually 10 out of 10 just needed to come down because we're so, and especially during COVID, we might have slowed down physically, but we're ingesting more information because we're on the screens more. And I mean, even myself, like I listen to podcasts a lot. I'm watching stuff. I try to limit social media and I don't watch the news for better or worse. That's, your opinion, but I don't watch TV, but I'm ingesting information quite a bit. And I notice, that's that spinning energy that there's only so much you can really kind of digest at one time. So I'm aware that a lot of people are actually more in that state of like, people are, because they can do stuff online, they're doing lots of programs and trainings and we're learning a lot, which is wonderful. But I don't know how much we're like digesting and resting.
Or implementing.
Or taking action, right? It's because there's a certain amount of analysis paralysis, or just, I need more information before I can move forward. And
I learned this
thing with women in general.
I learned this thing. Now I'm going to go learn something else, or I just listened to this thing. Now I'm going to listen to something else. And I can feel that happening too. And you get really into, like, I love the analogy of the upward spinning, because it really does feel like that. And in that grounding process. So what do your retreats look like?
Yeah, so my retreats were on hiatus during COVID. So normally I would do at least 2 a year, and I was starting to do more like 3 or 4 right before COVID hit. And I have one planned in October in Gualala right now, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And then another one in Hawaii. But I don't know if you know what's going on in Hawaii right now. They're like shutting down again, and so I'm hoping that it opens back up. But it's been a challenge to try to plan things, in this time. And yet I feel so called to gather people right now, even though it's precarious, because I guess just inherently, I believe in if we're all I just picture us like sitting in our houses, ingesting all this information, trying to figure out what's going on alone. And I'm like, that's not how we're supposed to be in community. We're supposed to sit around the proverbial fire and help each other, find our way. And when we don't, I think I see more negative impacts than the risk of gathering. That's just how I see it. So the retreats look like they're always for women. I've never done a co-ed one yet, but I like that it just opens up a little more freedom of, whatever wants to happen there. And, we can really kind of take off the masks. That's really I think the biggest thing about a retreat, it creates a container that's safe for people to bring that nervous system down. And I find that like this one's 3 nights, 3 days. I think that's a minimum now, because by the time you get there and like get settled, and then that first day is just kind of feeling out, who am I with, what's going on, even though a lot of my people know each other on some level. But for this one, I really felt called to approach it more like a counsel, like everyone has something to share. I want to hear from, I want everyone to bring their gifts and their full self to this. It's not like Andrea's going to tell you what to do all weekend. And, it's like, no. We actually what you need. And I'm asking you to tune into that. And also to call forth your gift. Like we all have a medicine to offer. Mm-hmm. And it's really amazing. I do this in my InVision group, where I wouldn't give them too much heads up, because I didn't want them to overthink it. I'd be like, hey, you're going to lead, a circle, and, next week, and, you have half an hour to just offer what you feel inspired to offer. And then what would come, they'd be like, oh, I don't know, and oh my God, what would come out was magic. It was like, oh, hello, who are you? Nice to meet you. It's like this amazing, powerful woman would step forth. And I believe in that. It's like being called forth, and I really feel so deeply, this is a time, this is not a time to play small and to hide in the background. We need to take all that information that we have, mm-hmm. and we need to find ways to offer it. And so because I can do that too. It's like, oh, who cares? There's so many programs, no one wants to hear from me, and it's that playing small thing. And I get it. It's scary to step mm-hmm. out and share who you are and what you see. Because I think it's 30% of the people love you, 30 won't care, and 30 won't like it. But you got to focus on the people that want what you have to offer. Mm-hmm. That's who you're here to serve them, and everyone else, you kind of have to just let that go. And that's hard. But yeah, I do. I feel like I just felt really called, and it came through the InVision group. So I've taught yoga and led retreats for, it was 10, 15 years. I've taught for 15 years. And those were always, retreats were always kind of my favorite thing, because they would weave together so many different tools that I have to share. Mm-hmm. And I just love to go deep. I love when I feel like we just all need a space where we can be out, mm-hmm. And it's usually not happening at work, or maybe not even in your marriage or your, mm-hmm. friendship sometimes. So that's a big part. But yeah, it's kind of, I'm kind of raising the stakes a bit now. It's like, okay, yeah. And what are you creating? Because we all need to start building. And we're watching, I think the world as we know it is falling apart, and that's scary and uncertain, but it's also exciting if you can if you can really claim what is it that you're here to build, and focus on that. So I really have to, it's a daily thing. It's a moment to moment thing of bring myself back. Yes, there's fires, and this is this looks crazy, it feels scary sometimes, but I'm also I can't hang out here too long. And that's why I don't watch the news. I can't focus, because that's a whole, what you focus on expands. And if I'm focusing all my energy on there's fires, drought, it's well, the law of attraction says you're going to get more of that, mm-hmm. And so whether or not that's scientifically proven, I think it pretty much is at this point. Why not focus on, well, what do you want to see? If you don't want to see fires, what do you want to see? So back to the balance thing. Balance to me is that we you know, that change is the constant, that change is, and I think in our holding on to what we know, we can dam up the energy. We can keep something back from coming forward that wants to come forward. And, you know, so that's how I don't think of it as like, you're ever there, but there's a point at which there's some ease that comes back, that you're not pushing uphill all the time.
And you're really opening up space to let things happen. And I would think that depending upon the group that you're with, or the group that's with you, the energy or the topic or what does evolve is going to differ based upon the people that are participating.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which is what I love.
And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like what you said. And if we were in a pre-COVID world, it would still be an appropriate thing to say when you said you allow them to take the mask off. And so now that we're in COVID land, right? Yeah. So we're in COVID land, and you are literally doing it in two different ways. One is it's physically, this thing is coming off, but also emotionally, I think that everybody wants to take that inner mask off and doesn't know how. And you're providing that comfortable space in order to let people grow and evolve themselves.
Yeah, that's the invitation, you know, and I see it happen, and I see people open up that, you know, we're really holding it together outside of that space. So I really believe in it. And it's an alchemy, because everybody comes together and creates something new than was there before, you know.
Ooh, that's good. I love that.
Yeah.
And so tell me about the InVision Feminine Leadership. You talked about it a little bit, but where did this evolve from, and where do you want this to go, and where is it right now?
Yeah. So it came out of the dark night of the soul that was 2020. I literally felt like I was in like a coma of just, I had let go. You know, I was doing a lot before that. I was running retreats, and I was teaching a lot, and I was just, you know, on fire. And then everything stopped. And I was like, at first I was like, okay, I'm going to keep it going, like on Zoom, and I'm going to, you know, and I was like hardcore, like my kids and I were hiking like miles every day. But then I just started to get really tired, and I realized that I needed to just stop everything. And that I had been pushing away the call to that something wanted to come through, and I didn't know what it was. But I didn't know how to stop like the momentum I had. So it was the perfect opportunity, and it just came through. It was like, I would just journal like after meditation. And essentially for me, it's like the amalgamation of the last 20 years on this journey through the feminine, like the divine feminine. And it feels like my coming home to myself. And then during 2020, I did my first life coach training, which felt like it really helped me see beyond like just like the yoga piece to this other that wanted to come in about helping people work with their mind, because that's really what we're working with is, you know, when you talk about change, growth, you know, anything that you want to create, you got to deal with your mind.
How often are we in our heads? And I think that this past year created us up here, spending more time up here than we ever have before. Don't you think?
I do.
Yeah. And that's not necessarily positive.
No, it
At
definitely,
all.
Yeah, it can be, it's the thing that can, you know, enslave you, or it can free you. But, you know, most of us live somewhere at least in the middle, if not to the slavery side. Because
it's isolating.
Yeah. We get stuck there. And the InVision it started as just a one like one program, if you could call it that, like an 8-week program that, I don't know, it just started coming through, like how I wanted to structure it and what I wanted it to be about, and the journey I wanted to take people on. And it involved getting together live, but I also offered it Zoom. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of a crazy time because I think it was December 2021. God, I have a hard time with the years right now.
Isn't it ridiculous?
I don't know. When was that? Like the last 2 years are weird. But it was in the winter, and it was still kind of, people were like, I don't know about getting together. And it was literally divided, like half the people showed up and half didn't live. And it was really cool. But from that, I quickly saw, this isn't just a one thing. This is like, there's a series, there's 4 parts. And I had the vision come in around, like the first one was really about rooting and grounding, and it's like understanding some of the baseline things about like, what are you, what's your connection to purpose? What's your connection to, like, what are kind of the fundamental areas in your life that are out of balance or feel, so we were like doing Wheel of Life, and we were just kind of that kind of first layer of understanding, where am I at, like on an emotional level, as much as I think really we're usually dealing with an emotional level before you can go into more of the like spirit. But, and then it, the second one was about, which we just did in the spring, that was about, like, that feels like so long ago. So we were working with the archetypes. We used the Women Who Run with Wolves, which is one of my favorites. I don't know if you know it. Clarissa,
tell me about it. The quick version.
Yeah, I'll tell you the quick. So the quick version is, she essentially lays out, she's a Jungian analyst, of course, because like that's, yeah. And she lays out the archetypal journey of a woman through her life. So it's through storytelling. So there's all these, she pulls myths from all different cultures. And the power of that is that it goes beyond the personal and it reaches right to your soul. And people, I mean, what happened in that group was just amazing, because it was like, this isn't just me. Like, I didn't just do, like, I thought this was personal. And, so many of us are like, God, we wish we knew this when we were younger, like, I don't know if we would have received it, but, these are just to realize that there is universal themes to a human life, like Campbell lays out the hero's journey, which I love and follow. But there's also the feminine, like if you identify as a female, and I think it's beyond even your sex, and same for men, of course. But so we focused on that, and I integrate meditation in. So every week there's a recorded meditation for people to use that's specific to what we're focused on. And then there's journaling questions, and we have a Zoom call once a week where we talk about what we read and what we meditated on, kind of like to like just process what we're picking up. And then we would do a live meetup outside. So we would often go to the river when there was water, and it's like so sad, but we would go on a hike into the river, and again, like that nature piece. And people just a lot of the women are coming back for this third round, which starts in October, but some of them they just like hopped right off into what they were, it was like they were so ready to bloom, and it was just the last thing that they needed to just, I'm here for this, like I got this. So it's just really cool to see, because I feel like I see right away, like, oh my God, obviously, like, you can do that, you're amazing and powerful, but we're the last ones to see it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So that's my joy, is to just, I'm like, it's right there, and just to help them, like, that's not very helpful, it's right there, just do it. It's about what's in the way, and that's what coaching is. Coaching is like, essentially, you're in conversation, you're present with someone, and it's just like, like, what about that?
Asking questions.
Yeah. And it's just amazing. It seems so simple. And it's like, why can't I just do that on my own? Why can't I just do this all? Like, I have the books, and I'm such a great example of that, because I love to think I don't need help. That was my old Andrea. I got this. I don't need help. I'm supposed to know everything because I'm a teacher. Right. And it's like, good luck. Like, how's that working for you? It's like, it's not. So
yeah, I struggle with some of that. A lot of that.
It's very humbling to accept that we don't have all the answers, and we're actually not supposed to. And that to lead doesn't mean that you know everything. I actually think, a lot of what we're talking about is that, like, that vulnerable leadership. That's like, I'm leading from a place of receptivity more than like the old way of top down. Like, I know, and there is an element of like, you need to make decisions when it's time, and stand behind yourself. But you're also, like, when I think of the archetype of the queen, who I use a lot for, like, when I think of a leader, it's like I think of her as embodying this beautiful balance of, like, she's strong, and she has this presence of, like, I got this, like, I'm in charge, but she relies on a council to guide her. Yeah. And what she wants is really for the people. Like, a good queen, I think of, it's not just for her to be in power and important. She's in service. Like, her people are everything to her. And that's what, through InVision, it's like, I'm calling that back for each of us in our lives, because I do believe it's like, in the end, like, women really, it's a balance. I think at best, women and men balance each other. They can balance those energies together really well. But I think it takes each of us stepping fully into our power. And when we do that, like, if I have, I think of my marriage, when my husband's in his masculine, like, it helps me be more in my feminine. And when we do that, there's more harmony, there's more balance, and together it's a beautiful dance. But if he goes, like, if I'm too my masculine, he'll be more in his feminine, and it feels a little off. It feels like I'm pushing too hard, or So I bring that in because it's not about women running the world, but it's about, women really do, in a lot of ways, run the world anyway, because they're mothers, they're running their households. And that's where the world really is happening. So, and there's more and more women in businesses and in leadership. So it's about, how do we do that? How do we be leaders, but not using the same old approach? Like, let's not lead like men, because we're not men. Like, we're women. We have a different way. And I think it's exciting to see that starting to happen, because I think what we saw for the last decade was women coming into leadership, but leading like men.
Does it give it a space to give permission to allow the ego to step aside, but also allow the bravery to come to the front, do you think?
Definitely. Yeah, I love that. I love that image. Yeah, I mean, in the end, I do. It's like we're ultimately spiritual beings, and strong egos are important. Strong personas are important, but they're not who we are. And this next InVision is really about that. It's following the Yoga Sutras and some of which parallels Jungian, the individuation process, which is also known as self-actualization. And this is what I feel really called to share, because it's about really integrating. Yes, you have an ego. Yes, you have an identity. Yes, you have, all of these different flavors of yourself or your, experience as a human, but ultimately your spiritual, your consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can tap into that and go beyond, it's like you can still use the ego, but you're using it as a tool. You're not, it's not the beginning and the end.
It's not driving.
It's not, it's not driving. And when it does, you're able to really just see it for what it is. It's like, oh, okay, yep, I know why I'm doing that, because, I grew up in a household where this was what we said was important, and we made that wrong. A lot of it's conditioning from early childhood, which comes up first, and then it's just the layers of what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a professional, like all these things, they all have a story attached to them.
Mm-hmm.
And that story, you might still choose to do the same exact thing and be the same exact person, but it's a choice. It's not like, oh, this is just who I have to be, because this is, kind of the victim of your life.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
And we, I think more than ever, we have to take responsibility for our health, for our life, and stop relying or projecting all our problems onto everything outside of us, because that's how we give our power away.
So when you are, absolutely giving your power away without a doubt. And I don't know that we really know that we're doing that.
No, we don't.
So when you're doing this, or you're having in-person meetings and you're bringing it outside, what does the outside do to the dynamics of the conversation, and does it change it, and how does it change it? And you wouldn't be able to have the same energy if you were inside, right? Or would you?
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I feel a lot more freedom outside. I feel there's more openness. I love having the element of the river, because it's just like I feel like it carries away, when the hard feelings come up, or the tears, it's like, it just moves it along so much faster. I feel like it takes care of it. It's like, so I think of nature as a great transmuter of energy. It's just like, give it to the earth, give it to the water, give it to the fire. So that's definitely true. I also feel there's divine messages come through nature. So there'll be lots of times where, like, we were sitting by the river one time with InVision, and this blue heron just like came and sat down, and it was at this really perfect moment of what we were talking about, and like, stepping into, your power, because herons are like the king of, the marsh or wherever they are, but they're also very like, what's that word? I don't know, aside from peaceful, they're just, there's like a presence. Anyway, things like that happen when you're outside. And I have that all the time. I'm just in communication with, particularly birds. So that I find it's like, it's just a reminder. It's like, not to, like, that there's so many benevolent forces here to support us. And we don't have to do this all alone. We can lean on them. We can ask for guidance, and
it's community creating, right? Don't we all want a community? And don't we all want a tribe or a community, or somebody that that you can break down the wall and be yourself, but also have an opportunity to learn to be something else too?
Yeah. Well, and just that word commune, you're communing with other life forms when you're outside. There's the plants, there's the bird, there's all the elements. And I think most simply, that's really, in anything I do, that's what I'm pointing towards, is the communion. It's like, there is a power in that. There is a healing in that. Because once we feel like we're alone and we have to carry it all ourselves, that's where we feel small. That's where we feel helpless. It's where we feel scared. And we aren't letting life essentially, hold us in all the ways it wants to. And I feel that from nature. I feel like there's fires, there's destruction too. But geez, 99% is nourishment and support and beauty. And you know what I mean? Like, there's something beautiful and incredible about a fire too, right? Even though it's not what we want and it's scary and destructive. So yeah, so the other thing, the obvious thing and the gift is that in COVID, it's just, it takes away some of that fear of breathing in the same space with each other. And so I don't do masks outside. I don't worry about it because it's just, I just feel better. So that's kind of an obvious way it supports gathering right now.
Oh, absolutely. And so tell me again where and when your next retreats are, and do you have space in them, or are they?
I do. I have some space in October. That one's actually filling up now. And I say that because
that's in Guadalajara
roller coaster.
Yeah, right. Is that in Guadalajara? I always love to say Guadalajara.
It's in Guadalajara at this. It's called Rosamond Creek Ranch. It's a 40-acre flower farm. But it's really, what's so cool about it is you're just like a mile from the ocean, but it's set up surrounded by redwoods, and the sky there, I planned it around the new moon so you could really see the stars because they're incredible. And the last time I went to Guadalajara for my birthday in March, and I could not believe the stars. It was like, you don't see that kind of sky here. So I'm excited about that, but it's really set up for gathering and retreats. It has this huge, beautiful kitchen, and it's not going to be a big group. I like my groups to be around 10 to 12, maybe 15 max, but I really feel like right now 10 to 12 is nice. It's not, too much. And it's 3 nights, get some beautiful ocean air and some time with amazing women who are just sharing their gifts and insights. And I there's no doubt in my mind that we are going to leave there so filled up and so inspired. And I feel that this is a time of year, especially, I always do retreats in the fall, like the fall and the spring, because our bodies are pretty depleted this time of year from the summer and the dryness. And, a lot of us are getting back into, if you have kids, school and whatever, if you're a teacher, work. So there's a lot of vata, and it's just a really nice time to go to the ocean and get nourished deeply. So that's October 7th through 10th. And you can go to my website, which
next question. We have to, yes.
Yeah. You go to my website, which is taiyogini.com. It's THAIYOGINI.com. And the other one is Hawaii. That's in Maui. And it's called Bowl of Light Retreat. It's a women's retreat, and it's set up on the cliffs in Haiku at this eco resort. It's just an amazing place. This is January 15th through 22nd. That one's around a full moon, because right from the place you see the moon rise over the ocean, and it's insane. It's like whale season, which I just have to be there during whale season because I have a thing with the whales. But the energy is set right above this 100-foot waterfall. So you feel this power, this mana there that, I don't know. It's hard to describe, but that is a special place. And this is a reschedule because it was supposed to be in February of 2021. Yeah, 2021. And we had to reschedule. So fingers crossed it's happening. Yes. That one's starting to fill up again too. So I'm hoping that we can go. I'm feeling it. I feel like this little spike right now is going to work itself out. And by January, we'll be okay. So let's hope. And if not, I kind of surrender it all to a higher power, because in the end, I'm not in control.
So give us the website again.
So it's taiyogini.com, YOGINI.com.
Perfect.
That
And
comes
that's
from my Thai massage and yoga background. Yeah.
And that's the best way for people to get in touch with you too.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. There's a
Wonderful.
contact form on there, and you can, fill it out and send me a message, and just let me know if you want to connect. And I also do one-on-one coaching, and that's open to any gender. That's really about, this based on Jungian philosophy and which is really Eastern philosophy. And it's like, who am I here to be, and what's in the way, and how can I have more freedom from, all these limiting beliefs that I don't even know about that are caging me in. So it's good stuff.
That's wonderful. It's been so fun talking with you and having this conversation. And I really appreciate your time and telling us about you and your journey and what you're offering, because it's so much that we all need, without a doubt. And before we go, I have a question. Can you leave us with something? Leave us with a thought. What would that be?
Leave us with a thought. Call in the water right now. We don't underestimate the power of your mind and the power of the power of ritual. And by ritual, I just mean sitting down, visualizing rain, like the waters of the earth moving and coming back to this area. I've seen it work. I've seen it quiet fires. I've seen it, I've seen it happen. And so if we could even let that in a little bit, I know it would really help, because the earth's asking us to listen right now. And I hope it's gotten our attention by now, but rather than go to fear, it's like, stay in that place of like, what do you want? What do you envision, right? For what's use it to create something new. And, trust that is actually more helpful than watching the news and watching everything go up in flames around you.
Yes.
So that's what I would offer. And I don't know when this is airing, but I was just meeting with someone. We're going to do a sound bath and calling in the water element in Auburn at an outdoor property, September 25th. So that's
wonderful. This will air on the 15th. So
okay, cool.
Yes.
So also go to my website about that, because that's going to be a powerful ceremonial gathering to do exactly that. Call the waters back.
Wonderful. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you so much, Jean. This was so fun.
Great. Have a good afternoon.
Okay, you too.
Thank you so much for listening today. Today's show is sponsored by Seaside Solutions, my financial services company. As a business owner, it's easy to be pulled in many different directions, and often taking care of yourself plummets to the bottom of the list. For me, I find myself outside to reground. My time outdoors helps me manage my day more effectively and be more present for my clients. Through this, Discover Rising Tides was born. At Seaside Solutions, we truly believe that education is the foundation of financial wellness. Our primary focus is to provide guidance that is designed to help you achieve your long-term financial goals and visions. Working with a plan allows space for doing more things that you love, like being outside to make the inside better. If I can help you create or realign your plan, or if you would like to be added to my weekly newsletter, please let me know. This week's topic was 5 ways to set more achievable goals. Your referral means the big, beautiful world to me. And if I can help, please let me know. And thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.